This section is 7-3, and this is about triangles. It's going to look at the actual angles in triangles. We're going to be able to figure them out, and we're going to revisit naming triangles. This has been a 5th grade standard, and so we're going to revisit it once again. All right, so we are looking at this page here. Again, you can put it in your notes book, or you can print this out and fill these in. All right, so when we have these lines here, these little tick marks show that these sides are the same. So this side and this side are both the same. If you remember back, when we have two sides that are equal, that was known as isosceles. Okay. So this has two, and as we learned before, that word is congruent or equal sides. But we also can classify our triangle by the angle. We have a 90-degree angle. Since we have a 90-degree angle, that is a right angle, so we have one right angle. And I'm going to use the angle marking to abbreviate. If it has a right angle or a 90-degree angle, it is also known as a right triangle. So this is a right isosceles triangle. The reason is because it has two congruent sides and it has one 90-degree angle. Okay. On this next one, I have a 90-degree angle, so we know that it is a right triangle. But I have different angles, 30, 60, 90, and none of the sides are marked with tick marks. That means that none of these sides are the same. When they are not the same, that was called scalene. Okay. So we have one right angle, and then we had three different sides. Okay. On this one, again, you can see the tick marks. So this side and this side are the same. It means the same thing over here. See how this matches this? So this angle matches this angle. So we have two sides that are congruent. So two congruent sides. Okay. And we can see, well, if this is 50, we know a triangle. Actually, let's jump down here for a minute. And let's make a note that triangles have 180 degrees. Okay, so the total of all their sides is, or all their angles is 180 degrees. So in this one, we have a 50. 180 minus 50 leaves 130. And then if I cut 130 in half, so I took my 180 for the whole triangle minus the 50 that I already had. That leaves me with 130. And then if I cut that in half, each angle is 65. So this one's going to be 65 degrees. This is going to be 65 degrees. Well, what I notice is all three of those angles are less than 90 degrees. So we have three angles smaller than 90 degrees, which means, if you remember, they are acute angles, I used to say. So this is an acute, because the angles are acute. We have two sides that are equal, so that's called isosceles. So acute isosceles triangle. Alrighty. Over here, we have two angles. They're the same, and they're small. We have two sides that are equal. So we know it's isosceles, so we could go ahead and write that right away. Okay, so we have two congruent sides again. Now, this time, while we do have two angles that are smaller than 90, we have one that is much larger. And so we have one angle larger than 90 degrees. And that is what we're going to name it based on, and that is obtuse. They always say, like, obese means really big, so obtuse sounds the same in my mind. So this is an obtuse angle because it is large. It's isosceles because there are two equal sides. Okay. Now, congruent sides, just like when we talked about that in another one. Our vertical angles, I believe, were congruent angles. So congruent sides have the same length, but congruent, we have a little symbol for that. Congruent is shown with the equal and the little squiggle on top of it. This means they're congruent, which is really equal. Alrighty. All triangles have degrees of 180 degrees, so we can always find what is missing if we needed to. Alrighty.